When the Vorthak Empire's most feared admiral watched 17 Earth warships tear through his entire battle fleet in under 6 minutes, he finally understood why humans were considered the galaxy's most dangerous species. But it all started with one poor girl named Sara Chen scrapping metal in the ruins of Titan Colony, who 3 alien slavers thought would be easy prey. Sara Chen knelt in the rubble of what used to be her family's salvage yard on Titan Colony, her hands bleeding as she sorted through twisted metal fragments. The 15-year-old girl had been picking through scrap for 12 hours straight, trying to find anything valuable enough to trade for food. Her stomach ached with hunger. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. The air recyclers in this section of the colony had failed 3 months ago when the mining company pulled out. Most families had left for the inner colonies, but Sara couldn't afford transport off-world. Her parents had died in the mine collapse. That killed 47 workers, and the company had declared bankruptcy before paying any compensation to the families. Now Sara lived alone in an abandoned maintenance shelter, surviving on what little she could scavenge. The colony's population had dropped from 12,000 to barely 300, mostly people too poor or too stubborn to leave. Local authorities had stopped patrolling months ago, declaring the outer settlements economically non-viable. Sara heard the sound of approaching engines and looked up to see a sleek alien transport landing in the colony's main square. Her heart sank. Alien traders sometimes came to buy salvage, but they usually paid almost nothing for human work. Still, desperate times called for desperate measures. 3 tall reptilian beings emerged from the ship. Sara recognized them as Vorthak wealthy traders who controlled shipping routes in this sector. They wore expensive clothing and carried energy weapons openly, a sign of their status in galactic society. The lead Vorthak, with golden scales and cruel yellow eyes, spotted Sara immediately. He spoke to his companions in their clicking language, and all 3 laughed. Sara didn't understand their words, but she knew that laugh. She had heard it before from people who thought her life was worthless. Human child, the leader called out in accented English. Come here, we have work for you. Sara approached cautiously, clutching her salvage tools. Work meant payment, and payment meant food. What kind of work? She asked. The Vorthak leader smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Easy work. You come with us. Serve on our ship. Good food, warm bed. Better than this wasteland. Sara's instincts screamed danger. She had heard stories about alien ships that took humans and never brought them back. I can't leave. This is my home. Home? The Vorthak gestured at the ruins around them. This is garbage. You are wasting your short human life in this place. We offer you opportunity. I'm not interested, Sara said, backing away. Thank you, but I'll stay here. The leader's expression changed. The fake kindness disappeared, replaced by cold calculation. I am afraid you misunderstand, little human. This was not a request. The other 2 Vorthak moved to flank Sara, cutting off her escape routes. She had nowhere to run in the open square, and her shelter was too far away. These aliens were faster and stronger than humans, and they were armed. Please, Sara said, trying to keep her voice steady. I haven't done anything wrong. Just leave me alone. The leader stepped closer. Wrong? You exist in our territory, breathing our air, using resources that could benefit more important species. Your kind has been a nuisance in this sector for too long. He reached out with one clawed hand and grabbed Sara's arm. His grip was like a metal vise, and she cried out in pain. You will come with us quietly, or we will make this much more unpleasant. Sara tried to pull away, but the alien was too strong. Desperation gave her courage. Help! She screamed as loud as she could. Somebody help me. The Vorthak leader struck her across the face with his free hand. The blow sent her to her knees, and she tasted blood. Scream all you want, little human. No one cares about you. No one will come. Sara's vision blurred from the hit, but she could see the other colonists watching from their windows and doorways. They were afraid, just like her. The Vorthak were too powerful, Too well connected. What could a few poor humans do against aliens who controlled trade routes and had the protection of galactic law? The three Vorthak began dragging Sara toward their ship. She fought as hard as she could, but she was just one weak, hungry girl against three adult aliens. They laughed at her struggles, enjoying her helplessness. Humans are so pathetic. One of them said in English, wanting her to understand, "Your species thinks you are special. But look at you, weak, poor, abandoned. Even your own kind will not help you." As they forced her up the loading ramp of their ship, Sara saw the faces of the other colonists. Some were crying, but none moved to help. They couldn't. The Vorthak were right. What power did humans have in this part of the galaxy? The ship's hatch began to close behind them. Sara took one last look at the colony where she was born, where her parents were buried, where she had fought so hard to survive. In a few minutes, she would be gone forever, and no one would even remember her name. But what the Vorthak didn't know, what Sara herself didn't know, was that every human colony, no matter how poor or remote, was monitored by Earth Central Command, and taking the human child against her will had just triggered protocols that were about to remind the galaxy exactly why humanity had built the most feared military force in known space. The signal had already been sent. Earth's army was coming, and they were very, very angry. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in the war room of Terra Central Command, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood before a holographic display showing every human settlement. Across 43 star systems, a soft chime indicated an incoming priority alert. The display flashed red as automated systems processed the emergency signal from Titan Colony. "Admiral," her aide Captain Rodriguez called out, "we have a Code 7 violation in the Outer Rim." Elena's expression hardened. Code 7 meant hostile alien contact with human civilians. She had been waiting 23 years for someone to be stupid enough to test Earth's resolve. "Details, Captain. Titan Colony, Sector 18. 3 Vorthak slavers forcibly abducted a minor female named Sara Chen. Colony population is mostly impoverished refugees. Local authorities are non-existent." Elena studied the data streaming across her screens. Sara Chen, age 15, orphaned, surviving alone after her parents died in a mining accident. The girl represented everything Earth's military was created to protect: the vulnerable, the forgotten, the ones who had nowhere else to turn. Has the Vorthak Empire responded to our initial diplomatic inquiry? Elena asked. "Yes, Admiral. They claim their citizens were conducting legitimate business and deny any wrongdoing. They're hiding behind Galactic Trade Commission regulations." Elena smiled coldly. The Galactic Trade Commission was a corrupt organization that allowed wealthy species to exploit weaker ones under the guise of free commerce. They had been ignoring human complaints for decades, assuming Earth was too distant and too weak to do anything about it. "Captain, initiate Protocol Omega. Full military response." Rodriguez's eyes widened. Protocol Omega hadn't been used since the Kepler Rebellion 15 years ago. It meant Earth was going to war. "Admiral, are you certain? For one abducted civilian?" Elena turned to face her subordinate. "Captain, what is the first principle of Earth's military doctrine?" "No human left behind, Admiral, regardless of circumstances." "Exactly. Sara Chen may be poor and alone, but she is a citizen of Earth. Every human in the galaxy needs to know that their home world will move heaven and stars to protect them. And every alien species needs to remember why they fear us." Elena activated her command console and began sending orders across Earth's vast military network. "I want the 3rd Fleet mobilized within 4 hours. Contact Admiral Thompson on the Titan's Hammer. His battle group is closest to Vorthak space. Have Colonel Santos prepare her orbital strike teams." "What about the diplomatic corps, Admiral?" "They're requesting time to negotiate." Elena laughed bitterly. "Diplomacy failed the moment those slavers put their hands on a human child. We tried talking for 50 years while aliens treated our people like animals. Now they get to learn why humanity built the galaxy's most advanced war machine." Across Earth's orbital shipyards, massive vessels began powering up their engines. The Titan's Hammer, Earth's newest super dreadnought, received priority orders to prepare for immediate deployment. Its captain, Admiral Marcus Thompson, was a veteran of 3 alien wars and had been hoping for a chance to test his ship's new plasma cannons. In the underground facilities of Luna Base, Colonel Maria Santos assembled her elite orbital drop infantry. These were humans who specialized in attacking alien ships from space, cutting through hull armor and fighting in zero gravity. They had trained for years for exactly this type of rescue mission. Elena pulled up Sara Chen's file again. The girl's photo showed a thin face with determined eyes, someone who had survived terrible hardship but hadn't given up hope. Sara didn't know it yet, but she was about to become the most important person in the galaxy, the human whose abduction would trigger the largest military response in Earth's history. Admiral, Rodriguez said, "Our intelligence networks are reporting increased Vorthak military activity near their border worlds. It looks like they're expecting trouble." "Good," Elena replied. "They should be afraid for too long. Alien species have seen humans as weak because we're scattered across distant colonies. They think we're easy targets because some of us are poor or isolated. Today, they learn that every human life is connected to the most dangerous military force in known space." The communications board lit up as Earth's various fleet commanders confirmed their readiness. The Third Fleet's 37 ships were loaded with enough firepower to destroy entire planets. The Sixth Fleet's stealth cruisers were already moving toward Vorthak space under full cloaking. Orbital strike teams were boarding their drop ships. Elena opened a secure channel to Earth's president. "Mr. President, we have a Code 7 situation. I'm implementing full military response under the Colonial Protection Act." "Understood, Admiral. You have complete authorization. Bring our people home." Elena closed the channel and looked at her assembled staff. These men and women represented the finest military minds humanity had ever produced. They had spent decades preparing for the day when someone would threaten human civilians and learn why Earth's army existed. "Gentlemen, ladies," Elena said, "we're about to remind the galaxy of an important truth. Humans may be scattered across many worlds, but we are one species, one family. Touch one of us, and you face all of us." The war room erupted in coordinated activity as Earth's military machine awakened from its watchful slumber. Sara Chen was just one poor girl on a forgotten colony, but she was about to become the catalyst for the most decisive demonstration of human power the galaxy had ever witnessed. The hunt was beginning, and Earth's army was coming to collect their own. Captain Sara Chen piloted her stealth reconnaissance ship, Shadow's Edge, through the outer reaches of Vorthak space. Her advanced sensors probing every communication signal and ship movement. As Earth's top intelligence operative, she had spent 3 days tracking the slaver vessel that had taken Sara Chen, following electromagnetic signatures in hyperspace. Distortions that most aliens couldn't detect. "Computer, analyze the latest intercepts from Vorthak civilian channels," Sara commanded. The AI responded immediately. "Captain, I've detected unusual chatter about a special cargo being transported to the Nexus Prime slave markets. References suggest a young human female with significant value to certain buyers." Zara's jaw tightened. Nexus Prime was the galaxy's largest illegal slave market, hidden in an asteroid field controlled by the criminal syndicate known as the Iron Claw. If Sara reached that place, finding her would become nearly impossible among thousands of other victims. Her communication console chimed with an encrypted message from Earth Central Command. Admiral Vasquez's voice filled the cockpit. "Captain Kim, what's your status on target recovery?" "Admiral, I've traced the slaver ship to the Korvax system. They're heading for Nexus Prime, estimated arrival in 18 hours. The target is still alive based on life support readings I detected during their last fuel stop." "Understood. Admiral Thompson's task force is 6 hours behind you. Colonel Santos's drop teams are prepped for orbital insertion. We need precise coordinates and defensive assessments." Sara engaged her ship's advanced stealth mode and moved closer to the Vorthak vessel. Through her high-powered scope, she could see into the ship's cargo bay where Sara was being held. The girl was conscious, sitting in a small cage with basic life support. She looked defiant despite her circumstances. "Admiral," Sara reported, "the target shows no signs of serious injury. She appears to be in solitary confinement. I'm reading 3 Vorthak crew members and automated security systems. What about Nexus Prime's defenses?" Sara switched her sensors to long-range scanning mode, analyzing the massive asteroid facility ahead. What she saw made her whistle in surprise. "Admiral, Nexus Prime is more heavily fortified than our intelligence suggested. I'm counting. Over 200 defensive platforms, energy shields, and at least 50 patrol ships. This isn't just a slave market, it's a full military installation." Back on the flagship Titan's Hammer, Admiral Thompson studied the tactical data Sara was transmitting. The situation was more complex than anticipated. Nexus Prime wasn't just protected by criminals. It had the backing of several alien governments who profited from the slave trade. Admiral Thompson, his tactical officer, reported, "We're detecting massive military buildup throughout Vorthak space. It looks like they're calling in favors from their allies. I'm seeing Zephyr in battle, cruisers, Makari destroyers, and even some unidentified vessels with advanced weaponry." Thompson nodded grimly. Word had spread quickly through alien criminal networks that Earth was mobilizing for war. The various species that profited from human suffering were banding together to protect their interests. "How many ships are we facing?" Thompson asked. "Conservative estimate, over 300 vessels from multiple species. They're forming a defensive perimeter around Nexus Prime." Lieutenant Commander Walsh, Thompson's intelligence officer, looked up from her console. "Admiral, we're intercepting communication suggesting this is bigger than just protecting one slave market. The alien crime syndicates are treating this as an existential threat to their operations." Thompson understood. For decades, alien criminals had preyed on isolated human colonies, confident that Earth was too far away to respond effectively. They had built entire economic systems around the exploitation of human suffering. Now Earth's decisive response to Sara's abduction was threatening to collapse their profitable arrangements. "Sir," Walsh continued, "we're also detecting diplomatic activity. The Vorthak Empire has formally requested military assistance from the Galactic Alliance Council, claiming Earth is committing an act of unprovoked aggression." Thompson smiled coldly. "Unprovoked? They abducted a human child from her home world. Let me show them what unprovoked aggression actually looks like." Meanwhile, aboard the Shadow's Edge, Captain Kim had discovered something troubling. She had hacked into Nexus Prime's communication networks and found evidence of a much larger conspiracy. "Admiral Vasquez," she transmitted on a secure channel, "you need to see this. I've accessed their prisoner databases. Sara Chen isn't the only human they're holding. I'm reading over 400 human civilians in their facilities, taken from colonies across our territory." Elena's voice crackled with controlled fury. 400? How long has this been going on? Based on the records, at least 5 years. They've been systematically targeting remote human settlements, taking people they thought wouldn't be missed. Poor families, orphans, anyone without powerful connections. Elena closed her eyes, feeling the weight of responsibility. While Earth's government had focused on trade negotiations and diplomatic relations, alien criminals had been quietly harvesting human lives. Sara Chen wasn't just one victim, she was the visible face of a massive crime against humanity. "Captain Kim, I want you to download everything from their databases. Prisoner lists, buyer information, financial records. When we're done here, we're going to roll up their entire network." "Already on it, Admiral. But there's something else you should know. I'm detecting advanced military-grade jammers being deployed around Nexus Prime. They're trying to prevent us from communicating with our forces during the assault. Then we'll have to rely on the plan we've already set in motion, Captain. I'm authorizing you to begin preliminary strikes on their communication arrays. Colonel Santos's teams will be depending on accurate intelligence. Sara armed her ship's quantum torpedoes and began targeting the most critical communication relays. Each strike would blind a portion of Nexus Prime's defensive network, creating gaps for Earth's assault forces to exploit as explosions lit up the asteroid field. Alarms began wailing throughout the criminal facility. The aliens inside suddenly realized that their comfortable arrangement was about to end violently. On dozens of ships throughout the gathered enemy fleet, alien commanders received the same shocking intelligence report. Earth hadn't sent a small rescue force as expected. They had mobilized their entire third fleet, complete with orbital bombardment platforms and enough firepower to level entire star systems. Sara Chen, still trapped in her cage aboard the Vorthak slaver ship, heard the alarms and explosions echoing through the hull. She didn't know what was happening, but for the first time since her capture, she felt a spark of hope. Somewhere out there, someone was coming for her, and they were bringing enough weapons to start a war. The first phase of Earth's assault began with a thunderclap that shook every ship in the Nexus Prime asteroid field. Admiral Thompson's Titan's hammer dropped out of hyperspace at point-blank range, its massive plasma cannons already charging for the opening salvo. "All ships, this is Admiral Thompson." His voice echoed across the fleet communication network. "Operation Guardian Angel is now active. Our objective is the recovery of human civilians and the complete destruction of this slave operation. Show these aliens why Earth's army exists." The Titan's hammer's opening barrage vaporized 6 Vorthak patrol ships before they could raise their shields. The massive dreadnoughts escort vessels, 12 heavy cruisers and 30 destroyer-class ships spread out in perfect formation. Their coordinated fire cut in through alien defensive positions like a sword through silk. Sara Chen felt the Vorthak slaver ship shudder under impact as stray weapons fire struck its hull. Through the small porthole in her cage, she could see explosions lighting up space like deadly fireworks. The 3 Vorthak crew members were running frantically between control stations, their earlier confidence replaced by pure terror. "Human fleet." One of them screamed in their clicking language. They brought an entire battle group for one slave. Colonel Maria Santos led her orbital drop infantry toward the chaos in stealth pods designed to look like space debris. Her mission was surgical penetrate Nexus Prime's defenses, locate the human prisoners, and extract them while the fleet kept the aliens busy. "Drop teams Alpha through Delta. We are approaching the target," Santos commanded. "Remember, we have over 400 humans scattered throughout this facility. Every second counts." Her pods struck Nexus Prime's outer hull simultaneously, breaching charges blowing precise holes in the asteroid's armor plating. Santos and her 36 commandos poured into the facility's corridors, their advanced combat suits allowing them to move through zero gravity and poisonous alien atmospheres. With ease, the criminals inside Nexus Prime had never faced Earth's military. They were used to dealing with desperate, poorly armed victims, not elite soldiers equipped with weapons that could cut through their strongest defenses. Santos's first squad encountered a group of Makari guards armed with energy rifles. The aliens' shots barely scratched the humans' armor, while return fire from Earth's quantum weapons left nothing but scattered atoms. "Sector 7 cleared," Santos reported. "Found 12 human civilians, ages ranging from 8 to 60. They're malnourished but alive." Meanwhile, Captain Kim's Shadow's Edge had located the slaver ship carrying Sara. The Vorthak vessel was trying to escape in the confusion, but Kim's ship was far superior in speed and maneuverability. "Vorthak vessel, this is Captain Kim of Earth Colonial Defense." She broadcast on all frequencies. "Cut your engines and prepare to be boarded, or I will disable your ship with extreme prejudice." The lead Vorthak, the same one who had struck Sara on Titan Colony, responded with desperate arrogance. "Human, you have no authority here. This is sovereign Vorthak property." Kim's response was a precision torpedo strike that destroyed the slaver ship's engines without breaching the hull. "Authority comes from superior firepower. You're now dead in space with a very angry human girl aboard. I suggest you surrender before I decide to solve this problem more permanently." Back in the main battle, Admiral Thompson was demonstrating exactly why Earth had built such an overwhelming military force. The alien coalition had assembled over 300 ships, but they were learning that quantity meant nothing against superior technology and tactics. Earth's vessels moved with precision impossible for the mixed alien fleet. Their weapons were more accurate, their shields stronger, their coordination flawless. Where the aliens had ships from a dozen different species with incompatible technologies, Earth's fleet operated as a single deadly organism. "Admiral," his tactical officer reported, "enemy fleet composition is breaking down. The Zephyrian commanders are arguing with the Makari about retreat coordinates. Their communication discipline is completely compromised." Thompson watched as a formation of alien heavy cruisers attempted to flank his position, only to fly directly into a trap he had set 20 minutes earlier. Hidden Earth destroyers emerged from behind asteroids, their surprise attack destroying 8 enemy ships in as many seconds. "This is why we train together," Thompson said to his bridge crew. "This is why we use standardized equipment. This is why Earth's military exists, not just to be strong, but to be stronger than anything that threatens our people inside Nexus Prime." Colonel Santos had reached the facility's central computer core. Her technical specialist, Sergeant Park, was downloading terabytes of data about the slave trade network while Santos secured the perimeter. "Colonel," Park called out, "I found the main prisoner database. We've got humans scattered across 47 holding areas throughout this facility. Some have been here for over 3 years." Santos felt her anger spike. 3 years of suffering while politicians back on Earth debated proper diplomatic responses. How many total? 437 confirmed humans, plus evidence of others who were sold to private buyers. Santos activated her communication system. "Admiral Thompson, Colonel Santos reporting. We need immediate medical evacuation for over 400 human civilians. Some require critical care." "Understood, Colonel. Medical ships are standing by. What's your status on facility neutralization?" 70% of enemy forces eliminated. We're encountering minimal resistance now. It appears most of the guards have either fled or surrendered. The battle was turning into a rout. The alien coalition, faced with Earth's overwhelming response, was disintegrating. Ship after ship broke formation and fled toward the edge of the system, abandoning their allies to save themselves. Captain Kim had successfully boarded the slaver vessel and found Sara Chen still locked in her cage. The Vorthak crew had surrendered immediately when faced with a fully armed human soldier. "Sara," Kim said gently as she cut through the cage's electronic locks, "I'm Captain Kim of Earth's Colonial Defense Force. We're here to take you home." Sara looked up at the human officer with tears in her eyes. "You came for me? But I'm nobody important. I'm just a scavenger from a dead colony." Kim knelt down to Sara's level. "Sara, you're a citizen of Earth. That makes you the most important person in the galaxy to us. And we want to make sure every alien species understands that fact." As Sara was helped to her feet, the sound of continuing explosions echoed through the slaver ship's hull. Through the porthole, she could see Earth's fleet systematically destroying every criminal vessel that refused to surrender. "Captain," Sara asked, "how many ships did you bring to rescue me?" Kim smiled. "Enough to remind the galaxy why humans don't make good slaves." The battle for Nexus Prime was nearly over, but its implications would echo across the galaxy for decades. Every alien species would remember the day Earth went to war for one poor girl and demonstrated that human military power wasn't just about protecting Earth. It was about protecting every human, everywhere, no matter how poor or forgotten they might be. 3 days after the Battle of Nexus Prime, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood in the medical bay of the Titan's Hammer, watching as the last of the rescued human civilians received treatment. Sara Chen sat on the medical bed, no longer the hungry, desperate girl who had been scavenging in the ruins of Titan Colony. She was clean, fed, and surrounded by other humans who understood her ordeal. "Admiral," Sara said as Alina approached. "Captain Kim told me that you mobilized an entire fleet just to rescue me. Why would you do that for someone like me?" Alina sat down beside the girl. "Sara, let me tell you why Earth's army exists. It's not just to protect our home world or our major colonies. It's to ensure that every human being, no matter where they are or how little they have, knows that they are never alone." Through the medical bay's large viewing port, Sara could see the remains of what had once been the galaxy's largest slave market. Nexus Prime was now nothing but floating debris, its criminal empire completely shattered. The Vorthak Empire has formally surrendered. Elena continued. "They've agreed to pay reparations to every human family affected by their slave trade, and to close all their operations in our territory. More importantly, 17 other alien species have voluntarily ended their involvement in human trafficking after seeing what happened here." Dr. Williams, the ship's chief medical officer, approached with a datapad. "Admiral, I have the final casualty report. All 437 rescued humans are alive and recovering. We lost 0 personnel during the operation." Alina nodded with satisfaction. "And enemy casualties?" "Complete destruction of Nexus Prime's infrastructure. 47 criminal vessels destroyed, over 300 surrendered or fled. We estimate the alien crime syndicates have lost approximately 70% of their operational capacity." In this sector, Sara looked confused. "But Admiral, wasn't this response excessive?" "I mean, I'm grateful, but starting a war over one person seems..." Elena held up her hand. "Sara, that's exactly the mindset our enemies were counting on. They believed humans would accept losses in the outer colonies because we'd think the cost of protecting everyone was too high. They were wrong." The communication console chimed with an incoming message from Earth. President Martinez appeared on the screen, flanked by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. "Admiral Vasquez, congratulations on a flawlessly executed operation. The entire galaxy is talking about what happened at Nexus Prime. We've received diplomatic communications from 43 alien governments, all expressing their commitment to respecting human sovereignty." Elena smiled. "Mr. President, I think we've successfully demonstrated the core principle of our military doctrine." "Indeed, Sara," the President said, turning his attention to the girl. "Would you like to know something interesting? In the 3 days since your rescue, we've received over 12,000 applications from young people wanting to join Earth's military. Your courage in surviving your ordeal has inspired an entire generation." Sara blushed. "I didn't do anything special. I just tried to stay alive." "That's exactly what made you special," Elena said. "You represented every human who has ever been forgotten, overlooked, or considered expendable by rescuing you. We sent a message that will protect millions of other humans across the galaxy." Captain Kim entered the medical bay carrying a bundle of personal items. "Sara, these belong to your parents. We recovered them from Titan Colony, along with some other things from your old home." Sara accepted the bundle with tears in her eyes. Inside were photos, her mother's jewelry, and her father's mining tools, precious memories he thought she'd lost forever. "What happens to me now?" Sara asked. "Titan Colony's gone, and I don't have any other family." Elena and Captain Kim exchanged glances. "Sara," Elena said, "Earth's government has established a special program for civilians affected by alien aggression. You'll have full educational scholarships, housing, and medical care. But more than that, you'll have a choice." "What kind of choice?" "Captain Kim has recommended you for the Colonial Defense Academy. Your performance during captivity, staying strong, gathering intelligence about your captors, maintaining hope, shows you have the qualities we look for in our officers." Sara's eyes widened. "You want me to join the military?" "Only if you want to," Kim said. "But Sara, you've seen firsthand why Earth's army exists. We protect people who can't protect themselves. We ensure that no human is ever truly alone in the galaxy. If you join us, you could help make sure What happened to you never happens to anyone else. The communication console activated again, this time showing Admiral Thompson from the bridge. Admiral Vasquez, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Vorthak homeworld. Their Emperor wants to speak directly with Sara Chen. Elena raised an eyebrow. Put him through. The screen filled with the image of a massive Vorthak in ornate robes, his golden scales glittering with embedded gems. His voice was humble, a stark contrast to the arrogant slavers who had taken Sara. Human child Sara Chen, the Emperor said. I am Emperor Thaxel of the Vorthak Empire. I call to offer my personal apology for the crimes committed against you by our citizens. We have executed the slavers responsible and disbanded our trading operations in human space. Sara stared at the screen, remembering the terror she felt when those same species had dragged her aboard their ship. Now their most powerful leader was apologizing to her personally. Moreover, the Emperor continued, we wish to establish a memorial fund in your name to assist other victims of trafficking. We hope this gesture demonstrates our commitment to peaceful relations with Earth. When the transmission ended, Sara sat in stunned silence. A few days ago, she had been a nobody scrapping metal in a forgotten colony. Now alien emperors were apologizing to her and offering to create foundations in her name. This is what power means, Sara, Elena said quietly. Not the ability to destroy your enemies, though we certainly demonstrated that. Real power is the ability to transform the galaxy through decisive action. Every alien species now understands that humans protect their own, regardless of status or wealth. Sara looked around the medical bay at the other rescued humans. Children who had been slaves were now free. Families torn apart by alien greed were being reunited. All because Earth's military had decided that every human life was worth fighting for. Admiral, Sara said finally, I want to apply for the Academy. If Earth's army exists to protect people like me, then I want to be part of protecting people like I used to be. Elena smiled proudly. Captain Kim, please prepare Sara's application materials. I have a feeling she's going to make an excellent officer. As the Titan's hammer set course for Earth, Sara stood at the viewing port watching the stars. She thought about her parents, who had died in a mining accident that no one cared about. She thought about the other colonists on Titan, too poor and powerless to help when she was taken. But most of all, she thought about the promise she was going to make when she joined Earth's army, that no human child would ever feel as alone and helpless as she had felt. Because Earth's army didn't just exist to win battles. It existed to ensure that every human in the galaxy knew they belonged to something larger, something that would move heaven and stars to bring them home. The galaxy had learned why Earth's army exists. Now Sara Chen was going to help make sure they never forgot.